And if you want to look at my YouTube channel, I made a video the other day talking about, well, I did a live stream and I spent a little bit talking about like how some LGBTQ people are responding to this election and, you know, choices, perhaps, is what I would say. Um, yeah, I think that idea, like, when I hear other people being like, yes, please, all the gay people leave the country, then I'm like, maybe we shouldn't leave then, just to annoy people like Abby Elba. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, and it's not that I don't agree. Uh, but yeah, and like woke detox, you can say what you gotta say, just don't spam, because that's annoying and nobody likes a spammer. Um, but yeah, so the idea, so Taylor, tell me more about what you mean. Tell me more what you mean. So I definitely think that, like, for example, there's a reason why this stuff is heavy on the minds of some people and not other people. I think that the implications, like the negative implications of a Trump presidency, impact some people more than other people, obviously. Um, and I think actually does make a good point, in terms of like there is a possibility that bad things can happen, and there's a possibility that nothing bad happens at all. And I think that remembering that is important. I denounce Islamic violence. I'm anti-theist, like generally, so I'm not for religious violence of any kind, whether or not that is violence to establish the state of Israel, which is typically a religious is a religious foundation, or to harm other people for jihad or purposes or whatever. Either way, I'm not for either of those things. If anyone else has any questions, I did see a guest, but they must have moved away quickly. So come back up if you'd like to have a conversation with me. Biden and Zelensky put us into World War III. I mean, we're not in World War III yet, so I guess we'll see. But that's kind of the whole thing. Fearing about things that can happen makes sense because we're humans. Preparing for real negative outcomes is a reality for a lot of people. Um, Obviously, different people, if you live in different states, have different types of risks. So some people, I think that for some people, leaving the state that they're in has much more, I think, weight to it than perhaps leaving like California if you're a gay person. But all right. Hello.
How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad. I just joined, so I missed anything prior. But my question is, how bad do you think the country was during his first term of office?
I think, like, I think that one of the things that I noticed after Trump's presidency is, I think, a cultural change in, I think, more blatant, even like rhetorical aggression towards minorities, for example.
During his term?
Yes, and after, because of the results of his behaviors.
Do you have any do you have any statistical proof of that? That attacks against minorities
Yeah.
raised during
So
his
like,
term in
so for
office or after?
example, like, Trump made several. I think during his first run, made several comments about like, I think where was it, Puerto Rico or something being like a shithole country, and then since then, not only him but other political people in power have made not similar comments about that country, but have made related like derogatory comments about entire countries. Like that now is more of an acceptable thing to do in our society, which I don't I'd find problematic. But some people think that that's fine. You're just speaking your mind, even though you're just like talking negatively about groups of people. But do you
But I
disagree
mean, you know
with
that.
evidence? Like, yeah, like, do you disagree? That's my first question.
I'm sorry, I had poor connection. You broke up the last
Yeah, do
part.
you disagree? Do you think that Trump, like, I guess, do you think the opposite, that Trump has increased kindness and compassion towards minorities, or what do you think?
Well, he historically got more votes from the Hispanic community this time around than he did the first time. How do
I
you
didn't
explain
have
that?
that is a great comment, and I appreciate that. But I would like for you to answer the question that I asked. Has Trump generally created an environment where it is normalized to be kinder and more gentle to minorities?
Yeah, because he's focusing on America
Okay.
and not other countries.
So how does okay. So do you think that like okay, so you say that
I
Trump
think there was more hate going around. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just want to say so you do not think that Trump has added to any cultural um like making it more culturally acceptable to be cruel to minorities? Has he contributed to that at all?
No.
Okay. So then why, for example, like would he go on stage and like make derogatory comments, like repeat derogatory comments about Haitians, for example, during his what is that called? Debate, presidential debate with Kamala. Do you remember that?
He wasn't wrong about that. I
So,
do. And I live in Ohio. I
okay,
live in
so
Ohio, literally 40 minutes
fantastic. So,
away from
Chad, you live
Springfield.
in
He was
Ohio.
not wrong.
So, okay. So, can you send me a picture of a Haitian eating a cat? Do you have one?
I can actually. There
Or
was
is it
a
that one
video on
picture
TikTok going around of that happening.
of the video of that one black woman who is not Haitian and is not an immigrant who ate a cat because she was having a psychotic episode? Or are you
No,
talking
not her. Not her.
okay.
No, because that wasn't even Springfield. That was a completely different situation. There was different videos going around before they all got taken down.
Yeah. And what I'm trying to say is when that first initial person made the comment, do you agree that when that person made that first initial comment, they did not have the right to make that comment because it wasn't true, for example? Or do you think that it was true?
Which person comment were you referring to?
Okay, Haitian immigrants are eating the pets in Ohio. Do you remember when that was being popularized?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, do you remember that when that first kind of first wave of that happened, where they did not have any evidence to support it? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so what now? What evidence do you have that you can provide for me? Because we just agreed that there was no evidence. So now, where is this magical evidence that you say that you have? I would love to see it.
Well, I can't provide the evidence because this is firsthand experience that I've talked to with people who lived in Springfield.
I thought that you said that you lived in Springfield, or you just live in Ohio.
No, I live an hour away from Springfield,
Okay, so someone saying,
but I
"Oh,
have friends
Haitian
who
eat
live
a
in.
cat." Do you think that's evidence that Haitians are eating cats? Really?
I honestly would believe that more than I believe anything the media says. It has been proven through this election that the media lies.
That's very true, and people lie too. Like
They do, but
humans lie.
again,
So,
I
for
rather
example,
believe, yeah, humans do
okay,
lie,
do you
but the
do
media
you
should
think
not be lying.
Okay, so do you think that that there is any negative impact from the president elect, or at the time just being a former president, repeating falsified statements about Haitians? Do you think that has any? Let's start. Do you think that has a positive impact on Haitian immigrants?
I don't think it'll have a positive, but I also don't think it's going to have a negative.
Okay, so your statement is the president elect making negative derogatory comments about Haitian immigrants is not going to influence Haitian immigrants in Ohio. Is that what you're really saying? Like logically, is that really where you're going to sit?
I think I'm trying to give more credit to people that have common sense that despite whoever says what, that they can actually use their own mind and make up their own decision on how they feel against a certain group of people, a certain government, anything.
Yeah, but do you know how that's
If you're
hard?
gonna if you're
It's,
gonna
it's
have the
hard to make
president
it's hard to
elect,
make
if
accurate
you're gonna have the
assumptions
president elect,
when popular politicians are lying about them. So if you're like, okay, I want to have a neutral opinion about Haitian people, and you're like, Haitians are going to eat your cats. I'm wondering, how do you think a person's going to have a neutral view about Haitian people if they hear that? Really?
Do you think someone with common sense would be able to hear that and go, "Oh my God, it must be true because this person said it.
Yeah,
I now
because
don't like Haitians." Do you think people
yeah,
actually are like that?
you literally said that you believed it, and you have proof that Haitians are eating pets, so you believe it. So like,
I said no. I said I believed what I heard from people I know in Springfield, but I also did not say that because I heard of that, I now hate Haitians.
right, hating Haitians is not necessarily what I said. Having derogatory opinions about them or having like lies about these types of people has an impact on how we conceptualize them. It seems like you're trying very hard to avoid that and just say like, yes, hearing that Haitians eat dogs have has affected my perception of Haitian people in America. Like that seems like that's where you're at. But I'm but you seem to be avoiding saying
No. The only thing that affects my opinion on anyone is personal experience, not what anyone says. As I said before, I believe what I heard from people I know in Springfield, but that doesn't mean because I believe them that I hate all Haitians now.
yeah, that's
You
once
see what
again
I'm saying?
what I'm saying. I never said that you hate all Haitians. You have a negative, you believed a
No, but
negative
what you're trying
lie
to what you're trying
about
to put
Haitian
out
people.
there is that someone in a political power, a president elect, because they say something negative, that people are going to now that's going to force people to now believe that. That's what you're trying to point out. And I'm saying people are smart enough to know he's just talking out of his ass, or I don't believe that. I'm going to make my
Okay,
own
that's what I'm
assessment.
trying to say. You underestimate people's believability for powerful human beings. Human beings are incredibly like we're very influenced. It's just part of our species. We're very influenced by other people of our species. So if someone is very confident and they say that, they will believe them. Like
Minded people are very.
yeah, I really, yeah, yeah,
If President elect Trump came out tonight, if he came out tonight and said, "Don't drink water from the tap because you were going to turn into a monster," do you think there's going to be a group of people that are actually going to be like, "Oh my God, we have to believe him,"
yes.
or do you think most people are going to be like, "Nah,
Most
that's
people, yeah,
ridiculous"?
most people, like, hopefully will have some common sense, but there are going to always be people who believe liars because liars are good at what they do. Like, they're effective. And most politicians are liars, like even Kamala. Like, I'm not a fan of politicians generally. So,
Yeah,
so
but
for
but
example,
that's also not the majority.
after this happened in Springfield, there's a woman named Philomene Philistine who was a local pastor who was followed, like after this like eating the cats thing, was followed to her car, like had several instances of being like stalked and stuff like that. She was a pastor at like a Haitian church. This like random Haitians and stuff like having increased fear of being able to go to the park because if they like are near a duck and they get a picture taken of them, oh no, the Haitians are eating the ducks in the park. Like, do you understand how viscerally terrifying that would be if you were a Haitian? Like, do you know, like, can you sit for a second and feel how awful that would be if you were a Haitian living in Springfield? Can you imagine that for a second?
Oh, I don't have to imagine that. I feel that all the time.
You are a Haitian in
I
Springfield.
am a I am No, but I am a straight white male who is a Christian in America. So I am the root of all evil, and all the time it's always my fault for everything.
Okay, so being like of a privileged class is the same as being an immigrant, a black immigrant in America. I just want to hear to make sure that
Do you live in America?
yes,
Do you live in America?
yes, I'm my
Well,
parents
then
are
you're
from.
also privileged. There is no such thing as a privileged class in America. If you live in America, you're privileged, despite your race.
Okay, and like that's fair, and I could say that like in comparison to like I am Haitian. My parents are Haitian immigrants. My parents left Haiti to come here to have a better life, and they do have a pretty decent life. They are, I think, upper middle class ish or something like that. They've done pretty well. My dad is a very intelligent engineer. Like my parents have done the work, but people like my parents who have done the work to come here are now being like not just like not just like mentally threatened, but sometimes stalked because of these comments that are being made by politicians. Like, do you think that that has an effect on people's lives negatively?
I think it's going to have effect on weak-minded people that
Okay.
don't have common sense. But
Okay.
let me ask you the same question on the reverse side of that. So I saw a while ago someone mentioned his name, and it's a great point. You remember the whole trial with what's his name, Jesse Smollett,
Yeah.
and how he came out saying that that he was followed and they put the rope over him, and it turns out it was completely fake and all that. So what do you think about that? Isn't that the exact same thing you're saying, but on the reverse? It's
Oh yeah.
people making up stories to cause hate that's not actually there.
Yeah, like I have no respect for Jussie Smollett for that because I think that's disgusting that he did that. Like,
So with that happening, now that we know that people do that, even celebrities. So when you hear these stories about, like you just said, the one pastor in Springfield saying, "Can you really believe that, or is this just another, you know, Justice Smollett incident?"
so that is a fair assessment, and then like yeah, people could lie, and like, but it just goes back to this whole thing. Like the first person who said that Haitians are eating pets was lying, but that lie was believed by everybody. So I guess like it kind of just depends on which lie is the most believable. Yeah, but these lies have power. And the fact that these politicians don't care to do anything to stop the lies, but they perpetuate them, those are the things that those are the things that I like make life worse for specific minority groups in this specific way. Not necessarily that like Trump himself is going to go punch them in the face or something, but the attitudes that are communicated through his rhetoric like are affect people emotionally. And I feel like that is not strange. Like that makes sense for humans to be affected by rhetoric that they're surrounded by, um, especially rhetoric that is like negative and not pleasant. Like you know, yeah, it's clearly derogatory. It's clearly derogatory statements, and people are believing these derogatory statements about my people essentially, like other Haitian immigrants, um, which I think is fucked up. And I see the hurt that it causes. And if you refuse to see the hurt, then like maybe you just need to work on like empathy or like compassion. But like yeah,
No, I'll be the first to admit. I'll be the first to admit, and this isn't towards any race in general or any people. I don't have empathy at all
okay,
because there's too many times, and I'll admit that I don't. I'll have sympathy, but I won't have empathy.
okay,
And the reason why is because I'm not this particular event in general, but there are too many times that accountability is lost in the wind, and that's why I can't have account or any empathy for a lot of things.
okay. Well,
And like I said, I'm not referring to,
that's an interesting
but
angle
no, I can't. I'm not.
but you could do both. Like you could
It's
do
what it
that
is. I think
and have empathy.
you can, but I think what this whole election proved is that Americans were tired of our government. And I'm not saying Trump is amazing and he's the greatest. He's not. And if honestly, if the Democrats would have put anyone else up there other than Kamala, they would have won. But the Democrats are just stupid right now. But the majority of the country has spoken that we're tired of this whole let's take care of everyone else but ourselves. They're tired of it. And that's why he won. Because Trump is going to take care of America before any other country.
Yeah, I would maybe agree that like he would take care of a very specific portion of America before other places. I could agree with that. Um,
Do you think he did that in his first term? Do you think that? Because I'm pretty sure everyone
he
had
effectively
great
made
economy.
life better for very wealthy Americans. Yes, he did a very good job of that. So he probably will do that again. A very specific portion of America.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't just wealthy. It was everyone.
Yeah. Um, okay.
But I'm gonna go ahead and hop down so you can bring someone else up.
Alrighty. Yep. Thank you so much. Alrighty. Okay, really quick. Hold on. You can't even exist as an FTM in media. Yeah, of course I complain about America. Of course I can, because for example, I'm someone who understands that I like, especially as a child of immigrants. Like my parents both came over here. yeah, they both came over here at different times for different reasons, and were able to have a better life here, right? So I understand like what it means to understand gratitude, or have like some feelings of gratitude for being in America, because I can like look back at other of my family members in Haiti who don't have as maybe as easy as a life or something like that. And we can also say like things are still not perfect, and I still want to continue to advocate for people to have a better life, for everybody to have a better life. Also, yeah. Um, okay. Okay, hold on. And I'm really, it's very hard for me to track who the fuck came in first, so we'll see. Right, what's up?
Hello. Sorry, can you hear me?
Okay. Yes.
Are you getting feedback or anything?
Like I can kind of hear your background, but not a ton.
Okay, I'm driving. That's the only reason.
Okay.
Uh, so I'm guessing. So I'm curious as to why there is all this fear around Donald Trump being elected. I guess I'll give my background first. I'm a white guy. I live in a very Republican area. However, I did not vote for Trump on either of his terms. I'm 26.
Okay.
I'm not. I wouldn't call myself Republican. I would usually refer to myself as more of a center-leaning person. I like different policies and mentalities on both sides. But I do think Trump was probably the better choice for this one, just given what people are concerned about the most right now.
I can definitely see where you're coming from with that. Like, I don't think that Kamala did a very good job of addressing like practical concerns. I mean,
Yeah, it was not like she just avoided interviews and repeated like, "Oh, I'm from a small town," which no one cares. We just want to know that what you think about things, and I don't think anybody knows what she thinks about things, which was one of the biggest reasons she didn't get a whole lot of support.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that those were a lot of things. And like, for example, for the for I think the Democratic Party, I think that the Democratic Party abandoning the working class has been a problem for a long time. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. Um, and but you mentioned what the fear is about. Was that the question that you
Yeah.
first? Yeah. So I would say that the fear that a lot of people are experiencing essentially comes from a lot of, I think, like what I was talking about with the last guest, a lot of the rhetorical issues that I think Trump had in the last election, as well as the way that he allows for policymakers who really do not have the interests of like queer people, gay people, minorities in mind, and the fact that he wants to give them more power and agency and kind of more access to like changing the law and making and practically making life for gay people or queer people or people of color.
So,
bad or
can you give me a couple examples of that?
Yeah.
Of like things that they want to put in place that specifically hinder them?
So for example, I guess like a bigger existential concern for some people is like reproductive rights, and like I know of like a gay couple of two women who are planning to expand their family, want to start IVF and things like that, but also have extreme. I don't think they live in a state where they would be protected with abortion rights and stuff. So if there is some type of issue with their pregnancy, they might not be able to access healthcare. And specifically, we understand that the mortality rate for Black women in pregnancy is ridiculously high. And there's the Black.
Well, it's because of money issues. It's not like it's not a race thing. It's
incredibly complex. There are a lot.
Yeah, multifaceted.
Yeah, multifaceted, complex issues that happen.
Sure, but when you look at like if you're talking about like Black women, they have proportionally the same fatality rate as poor white women on the same economic level. So it's not a race thing; it's a money thing.
Oftentimes it also is a minority stress thing. There is data to support that it is also a minority stress thing. And that also includes for Appalachian type very, very poor Americans. But and so I'm saying all I bring that up is just because it's a factor in their concern. And so for example, like they have very practical fears, and so like leaving the country, going to a country where they have like much more robust treatment for pregnancy and stuff like that, like that's a very practical concern for them. So that is one reason, for example, why they would want to leave the country. I think
So
other people have
I
concerns that I personally, I think might be a little more ambiguous. That I think just maybe they feel stressed out about them and then they want to leave. But yeah, it kind of depends.
which I totally get. People are absolutely entitled to their own stressors. But even with that example, talking about like women's reproductive rights is also a whole nother rabbit hole, because the reason conservatives are more on the pro-life side of things and that the liberals are on the pro-choice side of things, basically both sides want the same thing. They call it a different thing, and your politicians are going to say they want a different thing, but I guarantee you the vast majority of Republicans, I live in southern Ohio, so I'm next to Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee. I visit all these places all the time. The vast majority of people that I talk to, that I've interacted with, agree on abortion as far as like, hey, probably not as long as like 9 months. I think probably at the first couple months in is like okay. Some people say 6 weeks is the max. Some people say 24 weeks is the max.
Okay.
Every person I've talked to and I've ever heard have always agreed that there should be, there should be, what's what I'm thinking of? There should be cases made for people that are victims of certain crimes, you know? I think everybody agrees on that.
But I think that is desperately just not true. Like yeah, like I feel like if that was accurate, then we would not have states where the states would vote on having no protections at all. Like
yeah, so those states absolutely are.
So it's clear
brain
that
dead.
that is not true. So there are people who do not want freedom.
Oh, there are. Yeah, absolutely. But they are very.
So you said that
very few and far between.
There are people who it's important enough that literally protections like state or nationally were taken away. So clearly,
and those places are also among the most uneducated places in the country.
Why do you call them uneducated? They seem to be highly educated if they're high in government. So how does someone get high in government and is uneducated? Like, you see how this doesn't make sense? These are very educated.
There's a lot of people that are in our government that are uneducated.
Very educated. And
maybe with experience, but
like these people exist.
Oh, they exist. I'm telling you, but like they are in the minority.
They exist. They exist, and they have political power right now.
And they're in the minority.
And they're getting laws passed.
Okay, that's fine. We'll run with that. So when you talk about these states that have these mentalities and these ideas, and these is what the people vote on. If the people in that state vote on that, as the United States, they have that option. That was the reason for Roe v. Wade getting overturned, was they wanted the states to have the option to vote on the kind of area they want to live in. It's like places in California versus Texas, they're going to have different views on things like firearms. They're going to have different things. They're going to have different views on things like traffic. There's 100 different things that people are going to be voting on. This is just one of those things. And although I don't agree with the ban some of these places have in, I haven't looked into those places super hard. But I know some of these cases that people have been talking about are extremely watered down, and is not the case that happened. I 100% believe that these cases do happen. Absolutely, they do. But I don't think it's happening on a scale that should alarm anybody. The fact that it's happened a couple times isn't a good thing, 100%. But it's not on a scale to where the entire country should be freaking out, or people should be leaving the country, or divorcing their wives or husbands, or being terrified. Like a ton of my coworkers, I work with people of all backgrounds, have thought about purchasing a firearm for the first time. People that are part of the LGBT community, people who have been part of violence in schools, for stuff like this. And when I talk to people, it's just like, oh, I'm terrified. Terrified of what? And they don't know. They're like, oh, I think just like they're going to start attacking the LGBTQ community and Donald Trump hates us. I was like, what gives you that idea? What policies that you put in place? And all of the reasons are just like doomer reasons. People are just terrified because they've heard people talking about how terrified they are without like there's no policies put in place. They'll reference Project 2025, which is not a thing anymore. Trump has repeatedly denounced it and said he's not a part of it. People say that like, oh, people that are in his cabinet are part of it. Sure, people in every cabinet are always part of something bad that they don't like. That's not a talking point.
It's just, like, for example, it would be really interesting to be like, I want to distance myself from Project 2025, and then you hire the guy who wrote it. Like, it is interesting. Like, it seems odd.
So,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it's a little odd.
Like,
but Project 2025, Project 2025 in its entirety was not like an attack on certain people. There may have been like certain parts of it that weren't very.
No. Like, Project 2025 is a disgusting document. Like, have you like? I mean, I haven't even read it like cover to cover, but like it is clear that it is like.
Yeah, I've read summaries on it.
Yeah,
there are some bad
really
policy points in there.
Yeah, so I'm like, come on, yeah, it's really bad.
But
like
the
really
majority of it
to
is
see
not.
people as equals. Like, straight marriage is the only kind of appropriate marriage. Like, come on.
Yeah, absolutely awful. 100% agree. However, the majority of it was pretty all right. There are some bad policies in there. 100%, I agree. But none of that is coming through. And just because
interracial marriage, yeah, like, it's some fucked up shit in there. Yeah, fuck.
I agree. But none of that is coming. None of that's going to be put in place. It would never. I think you would have people on the left and right. You would have some super hick town people with 1,000 firearms.
Somehow people also
fighting
said,
for you too.
like, they'll never repeal Roe v. Wade. Like, they're never gonna do it, and like they did. So for example, I understand.
Who said that?
There. I think, like, for me, my way that I'm kind of navigating this is I'm of two minds. I know that there are things that could go wrong, that could threaten, I don't know, like access to medical care or like my daily life or something like that. And I know that it might take a while for those things to happen. So I'm not going to like be like, I don't know, like.
But those things could have happened under any president.
Being in constant anxiety is just not healthy for me. So like I can't even manage that.
Oh yeah, I have horrible anxiety problems. I'm on hydroxyzine right now.
Right. So I can't afford.
But like,
I can't afford it. So
you'd be surprised. I got it for $8.
But I think that to say that there aren't real concerns, like, and I guess, like, for example, there are already other people who like for example, like even when, you know, Biden or Trump isn't in office, like, gay people still have difficulties. Like, if there's a gay person, right, and their family is homophobic and they don't accept this person's partner, if that person goes to the hospital, they can block their partner from going to see them. And I know that those things are like, okay, well, that doesn't really matter. That's just a minor thing. But those are massively significant in the health and well-being of an individual, to have people that they love and support.
Yeah, I mean, and that super matters.
So like these,
that's
like, even though
gonna super matter, like the state you live in,
matter in terms of the livelihood and the general well-being of people. So like people, like, some people can avoid the distress with this stuff if they just don't have any of these issues and stuff like that. But some people can't. And some people can't deal with the constant everyday barrage of the stress. So those people feel like they might need to distance themselves.
Yeah, well, I mean,
entirely.
Every person in this country has a struggle that they cannot avoid. Like, it's not... Sure, there are people that are going to have it tougher if you're part of a minority or you're poor, things like that. But there haven't been any policies put forward, and I haven't heard Trump say anything that would show that he is a part of a supremacist group, or to show that he has distaste towards the LGBTQ community, or that he is against abortion. Like, he's pro IVF. He has the same.
For example, like
He has
Trump.
the same policy.
So Trump utilized gender nonconforming people as a fear-mongering technique in his commercials. So he clearly does not care about. He doesn't care about LGBT.
How so?
Okay, so he made these
I didn't see
commercials.
the commercial. What was it?
Kamala Harris is for they, them, and flashed pictures of gender nonconforming people and said, Donald Trump is for you. He's not going to be for they, them. Like, these are real commercials that he put out in America. I'm in Pennsylvania, and we were bombarded with political commercials, so they were all over the places here. So he clearly finds it acceptable to utilize gender nonconforming people as a fear-mongering tactic to help swing voters. That's an interesting thing to do for a person who supports and appreciates the gay community. It'd be interesting. Strange.
I would agree that he's probably saying that he supports or what was it? Sorry, what did you say? He supports or is pro LGBT community. He might not be. I don't know. But he's definitely not making any laws that prohibit them from doing anything. Everything he puts forward is very like, hey, I want every single American to have the same access to everything. There is nothing he's putting forward that discriminates against anything for anyone for any reason, unless you are here illegally or you have some sort of record or you're like a criminal. There's nothing he's put forward or has ever put forward that discriminates. Everything he's putting forward is just pro, let's just do things for Americans and let's make it good.
Okay.
Again, I'm not a pro-Trump person. I think he's a pretty awful human being. But policy-wise...
So you're saying that they only affect people who are in America illegally? Is that what you just said, for example?
Sorry, say that again?
Did you say that all of his policies have only affected people who are here illegally or criminals? Is that what you said?
No. I'm saying like whenever he makes policies, the only times they discriminate or they have like some sort of restriction is based on like their legal status and stuff like that. Like he's not making any laws that prohibit gay people from doing certain things or people of color from doing certain things.
Okay,
like everything he wants
banning
like what?
Muslim people like from coming into the country.
It wasn't a Muslim ban. These were countries identified as threats by the previous administration,
which like
where
all happened to be like kind of brown and Muslim, like conveniently. So like,
well,
no
where do we get
discrimination
attacked from
allowed
those?
at all, like not discriminatory at all, but they all just happen to come from this country and like look very similar. But that's it. That's the
So hold on. So those places, do you think that they have a similar mindset?
Sure. Does
So
that mean that like every brown person should not be allowed in America because they have a similar mindset?
no, hold on. Let me go with this point. Let me keep going with this. Trust me.
Because you look like this, so you're dangerous.
No,
so you can't be around us because you believe the same thing as them.
Follow me for a sec. Okay. So follow me. If you're getting attacked and you're getting threats and your bases are being attacked by people in these areas, right? You have all of these terrorist organizations that live within these areas. You don't know who within that community is or is not targeting you, but it's enough and you get a lot of political support backing these organizations and you can't track all these people down. So you have to put some sort of blanket restriction on these areas. And it was not just Muslim countries. There were other countries too.
Right. And so I wanted to make, I like what the point was I wanted to get across was that whatever you want to call it that he passed was not neutral to some certain particular looking and where they come from people. Like it affected significantly the lives of some of those people. That's what I'm trying to say. And some of them were in America.
Absolutely.
But
true.
So I just want to say that you made a statement that, you know, his policies are going to only affect the people who are like illegal or criminals, but that's not true. They affect just people who had just they were in America illegally, but maybe they were Muslim, and so now they like maybe like for example, like this is a real story that I heard that someone wanted to go home to visit like someone else or for a funeral or something like that, but it was right before the Trump ban or right before the Muslim ban, so he couldn't go, and then right after that, COVID happened, so this person has not been able to go back home to their home country in like 6 years or something like that.
So I don't think it was perfect.
Whatever, that doesn't do it. Okay, whatever he just that's whatever.
Obviously, it's not perfect. You're never gonna be able to put a policy out that's gonna be perfect at the beginning, but So
and just make
here's
sure
another
we're
one.
clear that he does sometimes make policies that negatively impact people of color and minorities.
So yes, obviously, if you make a policy, there are going to be some fringe cases. So are you allowed to just enter somebody's home? Like if you just walk up, go through somebody's door and enter it, are you allowed to just do that?
No.
No, because we understand that some people that do that have ill intentions. So you put a law in place. You say, hey, don't walk into people's houses without being invited first. And say you're in a really bad neighborhood, you're probably going to have more restrictions on that area. People are probably going to be more on edge in that area because things like that happen pretty often. So what you have to do is you have to put a restriction on places like that where the majority of all of these crimes and terrorism and government funded organizations that are targeting the United States, you have to put a restriction on that. You can't let that fly. Because if you let that fly, you're inviting people that want to do harm to you in your country.
But
You cannot do enough vetting on that many people and effectively. You just can't.
Yeah, but for example, there are like global laws that stop us from stopping people from entering our country. Like if someone walks up and says, "Hello, I'm seeking political asylum," to my understanding, we legally have to allow them into our country. That is where we're at. Am I incorrect?
I don't know all the things about asylum seeking people.
So I'm pretty sure
I'm
that
not
like so people who are coming to the border in droves, this even idea that they are all coming in as illegals is not true. They're coming in and asking, "Hello, can I receive asylum?" I think sometimes they might be turned away. I'm not sure about all the things, but I'm pretty positive that that is illegal to turn them away. So
No, it's not. There's no way. So you have power of executive order. You can shut borders down. As your own country, you have the option to do whatever you want. You cannot let people in your borders if you don't want to. No country is ever going to be. Who's holding them accountable? Who's telling us that we can't let people into our country?
we can't or we can, like, would it be like the
Sorry,
UN or
who's
something like that?
who's telling us that we have to let people in our country who are seeking asylum? And what are the repercussions if we don't?
They're like UN or like national, like what, like peacekeeping laws or something like that. Like I don't know, like things about like national asylum seeking. Like that's all I thought. Like you just have to
I'll
go.
grant it.
You just have to go
I'll
to.
grant it. I'll believe
I
you.
literally Googled it. You have to be physically present at a port of entry, like an airport or a crossing, and you just say, "I am afraid to return to my country because of X, Y, and Z," and then you might have to like for example, what you become illegal if they deny you, then you're illegal. Like that's what it, or that now you're here illegally. But I think the idea that they're
So
coming in as illegal is a false idea. I know we're not talking about that, but that's just an important thing that annoys me. Um,
well, I do believe in stronger borders. We are one of the most relaxed countries on borders in history, and we are having the worst drug problem of any developed country. We're having all these kidnappings that are happening, all these murders. Like we're starting to see it in other countries like Great Britain. People that are when you have a massive influx of people that don't have a similar culture, you're going to have a clash in culture. And then that causes discrimination, that causes violence, that causes civil unrest. So to say that, like, oh, we should just let people in just because they want to be here is not a good idea.
not
Never
just because
has
they have
been.
to be here. They have to be here because they are afraid. They are afraid in their
But
own
if you
country.
but you can't verify that. You
Yes.
have no idea. Just because they say they are, all you can do is take their word for it. How do you know who that person is? How do you know that they're fleeing? How do you know they're not part of some organization that is just trying to get in here?
Um,
It happens. It's happened. We have gotten rid of a ton of people that have done that.
Wait, sorry. Say that part in the beginning again. I didn't hear that part.
I said it does happen. It's happened a ton, and we've gotten rid of a ton of people that do that. You have people coming over from cartels that we've caught doing that, seeking asylum.
Well,
We have caught a lot of
there's
people.
there's a process. That's the thing. Is there's a process.
So there's a process, but we're overwhelmed right now. We can't get to all these cases. So that's why we're having all of this money poured into the border, is so we can have more judges and more case managers. Because right now there There are millions of people here. We don't have enough people to go through these cases. So they're just here right now, and we're letting them in without having any sort of vetting or papers on them yet.
And
So once they're in
the thing
here,
is, I understand that there's a problem. Like, I'm not saying that there's no issues and that like it's not problematic. Like, there are issues. We need to figure out how to manage this. But what I'm also saying is like this would also impact to my understanding, would significantly impact our relationship with other countries if we changed our asylum laws. Like, it would be very significant. So I'm
there's
hearing
very
what you're
little.
saying, and I understand that there are problems. Like, maybe we need to increase the amount of people who are trying to help people figure out like how to find places to live or find food or something like that while they're here.
And what do you mean as far as our relation to other countries?
Like, I'm not sure how like our asylum laws impact our relationships with other countries. I don't know everything about national relationships.
All that would mean is that these people would just have to stay in their own country or seek asylum in another country.
And that's what I mean specifically. If like I don't necessarily know how the global asylum seeking thing works, and if America changing its asylum seeking laws would negatively impact other countries in a way that would hurt our relationships. That's what I'm saying.
It may, but like at this point, the majority of Americans have spoken that like this is a massive problem. Like, people in this country are not enjoying the fact that we have so many undocumented people. We have no idea who they are or what their intentions are, and they're just among us. Like, they're just here. They're around us all the time. Like, that's a very unsettling thought.
You feel threatened?
Like, why?
That's also like, okay, maybe
absolutely.
Maybe that's a good way to put it. So for example, so like this idea of like feeling this existential threat from like people who like may be undocumented is a similar threat that gay people feel about being attacked. Can that help you understand that feeling then a little bit?
It's not equivalent, but I understand it.
Yeah, I didn't say that it was equivalent, but I'm trying to at least communicate a similar feeling, because I hear that, I guess maybe because like my parents are immigrants, so like I'm used to being around immigrants who are working on their documentation, helping quiz my aunts and stuff on their tests for getting their citizenship and stuff like that. So I'm used to being around those types of people, so they don't threaten me. But I understand now why that if the idea of this being this spooky, immigrant boogeyman, like the spooky immigrant or the spooky transphobic person who's going to tackle gay people or something like that.
So it's not that. So to clear the air, it's not that they're immigrants. We love immigrants. Everybody.
Wait, it literally is. That's the only. What do you
mean? Hold on. No. No,
it's that
they're. No. Listen, it's that they're illegal. People that are here legally love them. People that are here illegally don't love them.
Do you know what's
There's
funny?
a massive.
You know what's funny? Because like it can literally be like one day this person's here illegally, and then they get a letter, and then now they're not illegal.
Hold on. So that person that.
You know that's weird.
So one day they didn't have paperwork. They didn't have any sort of record on them. Now they do. So if they do anything, they can be held accountable. That's the difference. People can come in here and do all sorts of crazy shit and not be held accountable for it. How many times are we going to catch and release somebody that just assaulted a 7-year-old girl or just murdered a bunch of kids?
Dude,
how long do you want that to happen?
You understand that this is a problem before?
It's even worse of a problem now.
Yeah, I don't really think so. Like, or at least I haven't seen any like data to support that. So
all of these countries that have just had like these mass, like people are leaving these countries, right, in droves, going to the UK. They're trying to get into all these European countries. People that have let these people in are getting slaughtered. Like, and it's not because, they're immigrants. It's like you have this massive clash of people that don't believe the same thing you do. People in some Middle Eastern countries believe that women are property. It's in the laws. They voted on that. They can't show their face in public. And then they come into the UK and they start killing women because they're showing their faces in public. Like it is not...
Like, that's concerning. That's very concerning.
Absolutely.
And then we have Americans who are indoctrinated into like religions and then kill Americans. Like, that's also very concerning to me.
Come on. You don't like
At the same rate, but those people also have paperwork and they're held accountable.
No, they're not.
And they're
so, like,
given
what I'm trying to
prison
say is, like,
sentences.
there is already issues with crime occurring and people not being held accountable. That is already an issue for
So
us.
then why would you invite more people who want to do the same thing? You should probably want them not to be here.
Inviting them. I'm not saying that I'm trying to invite them in. I'm not saying.
No, we are. We are inviting them. We're giving them buses, money, phones, rooms to stay in.
We're in. And our options are either like get rid of everyone who looks different in our country because they're scary or whatever.
No, illegal people, not people that look different. People that are here illegally, get rid of them.
People who are here illegally. Yeah, and also, it's very silly for you to say that this isn't about immigrants. Like, you understand how I would think that that's very silly for you to say.
No, it is about immigrants. It is about immigration. It is not because of legal immigration. It is because of illegal immigration that we have a problem.
Do you remember like 4 minutes ago when you said it's not about immigrants? I just want to make sure you agree that you said that and now you're changing your mind.
So it's not about immigrants in the sense of like our problem is not that we have people immigrating here. The problem is the violence and the unaccountability that people here that are here. Sorry, my music started. The problem is the undocumented immigrants here that come here that do not have good intentions. That is the problem. Oh, hold on, I can't hear anything.
Yeah, like
oh my god. Sorry, talk again.
I'm here.
Okay, sorry, my music started. I guess I muted the wrong thing. The problem is not immigration. We like immigration. We like when people want to come here and benefit in a society that we all work for. That is like the American dream. Come somewhere better where you can help out and where you can give something back as well. When people come here illegally, they are circumventing the entire process that everybody else is taking to be part of this. They're not paying their fair share of taxes. They're not being held accountable for the crimes they're committing. They're not getting deported when they do these things. We catch them and release them and they go undocumented, and we're giving them voting rights. Like, it is crazy to support the idea that you will let somebody into your country that you have no idea who they are. And like, that is like the biggest thing right now dividing Democrats and Republicans, because Democrats think like, oh, they're not all here to cause harm. Of course, not all of them are here to cause crime, but you can't just take that at face value and let everybody in because you don't know who and who isn't going to commit crimes. So you have to stop it at some point.
Question. I have one last question. How do you imagine that we try doing this? Because you're over here saying that immigration is good, but only some of them are bad. How do we tell?
You have a vetting process. You give them the paperwork. You hold them accountable for things. You make sure that they're in the book so that when they do something fucked up.
I'm going to pause you again.
Yep.
Just like you said, who's going to give all these people all this paperwork? Because there's not enough people to do it. You see how your problem actually doesn't.
No, so that's why Trump got voted in, because he has already committed that he's going to give more money to the borders and give more lawyers and stuff to process these people faster. Because we have.
I thought he was going to spend a bunch of money to remove 200,000 or 20,000 people from America. I thought that's what he wanted to do.
If they're here illegally, yes.
Yeah, but
so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with the people who want to be here
in the audience. By the way, look into how that's worked out in the past, what raids look like how those type of raids impact communities, impact not just those people, but their generations, their children, birth weights. So this is not neutral stuff. This is.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Are you saying so? If somebody came into my little small town in Ohio and arrested some illegal immigrants, you're saying there's going to be trauma on the community?
Absolutely. Not for if you don't want them there, you're probably not going to be traumatized. But if your cousin gets ripped out of the home kicking and screaming, yes, that might have an impact on your nervous system and your feeling of safety in the country that you're in.
No, my cousin will not, because she came here legally.
Okay. I just feel like it's important for me. I'm not important, but I know that our country does stuff. Like I said, I've been through the process of seeing people in my family get their documentation and celebrating with them, helping them with their tests and stuff like that. And I've also had personal family members get deported for legal reasons. So I have had all those types of things happen in my family, right? And yeah. And also the other thing I'm going to say is not having empathy is not a flex, by the way. And yeah, that was fucking crazy, by the way. And also, um, I only got a little bit of time today, but tomorrow I have a little bit more time than I do today, so I'll be coming back. If you're here and you have burning questions for me, join my Discord server. Either go to my bio here, go to my YouTube channel and check the description of some of my recent videos. Join my Discord server and talk to me directly. Mav, I'm very mad at you because you said that Trump stinks, and I think that he smells very good. So tell me, let me know. You know, uh, have a good day.